Beauty gave me power. I do not want to pretend it did not. Beauty changed the way people looked at me. It changed the way rooms responded. It changed what strangers assumed. It changed how much softness the world was willing to give me before knowing anything about me. For a long time, beauty felt like protection. If I could become beautiful enough, maybe I would be safer. If I could become feminine enough, maybe I would be seen correctly. If I could become desirable enough, maybe I would finally feel real. But slowly, I started to understand something uncomfortable. Beauty can open doors, but it can also become the door you are afraid to close. I used to think beauty would make me more free. Free from being misunderstood. Free from being dismissed. Free from being unseen. Free from having to explain myself. And in some ways, it did. Beauty gave me access. Beauty gave me attention. Beauty gave me a kind of social softness. People looked longer. People listened differently. People projected more tenderness, more fantasy, more meaning onto me. That is power. But not all power feels like freedom. Sometimes power also comes with a script. Be beautiful, but not too intimidating. Be feminine, but not too demanding. Be desirable, but not too complicated. Be visible, but do not make people uncomfortable. Be soft enough to be wanted, perfect enough to be chosen, effortless enough to seem natural. At first, I thought beauty was a way out. Later, I realized it was also a system of rewards, a system of attention, a system of comparison, a system that tells you, this angle is better, this face is safer, this body is more valuable, this version of you gets more approval. So you learn the lighting, you learn the pose, you learn the softness, you learn the image that gets chosen, and because it works, you start to trust it. Then, slowly, you start to fear losing it. That is the quiet trap. Beauty gives you evidence. People respond. Messages come in. Doors open. You feel the world soften around you. And then your nervous system starts to believe, this is how I stay safe. This is how I stay wanted. This is how I stay real. This is how I stay above rejection. But if beauty becomes the only place where you feel safe, then every bad angle becomes a threat. Every tired face becomes a warning. Every comparison becomes a small wound. Every younger, prettier, easier version of someone else becomes evidence against you. Beauty is powerful because it makes the world respond. But beauty becomes a cage when you cannot stop checking whether the world is still responding. That is when beauty stops being expression. It becomes surveillance. You watch yourself before anyone else can watch you. You correct yourself before anyone else can reject you. You become both the image and the judge. I know this feeling. The feeling of looking at a photo and not just seeing a photo. Seeing proof. Proof that I am feminine enough. Proof that I am desirable enough. Proof that I have not lost something. Proof that I still belong to the version of myself I have been trying to become. But a photo cannot hold that much weight. A face cannot carry an entire identity. A body cannot be asked to answer every spiritual question. Beauty can reflect me, but it cannot become my soul. This is especially complicated when femininity itself has felt like something I had to build. For some girls, beauty is taught as a duty. For me, beauty sometimes felt like evidence. Evidence that I had crossed some invisible threshold. Evidence that the world could finally read me the way I wanted to be read. Evidence that I was becoming her. So of course, beauty mattered. I will not shame myself for wanting beauty. Wanting beauty is not shallow. Wanting to be seen correctly is not vanity. Wanting to feel desirable in a body that once felt questioned is not weakness. Beauty can be healing. Beauty can be art. Beauty can be self-creation. Beauty can be the first language a wounded self learns to speak. But healing can become a prison if we never move beyond the thing that first saved us. Beauty helped me survive certain rooms. Beauty helped me be seen. Beauty helped me create a feminine image that felt closer to my inner self. But now I have to ask, do I own my beauty? Or does my beauty own me? Am I using beauty as expression? Or am I using beauty as proof that I am allowed to exist? There is a difference between creating an image and becoming trapped inside an image. Creating an image feels alive. You choose, you play, you arrange color, hair, fabric, light, gesture. You turn yourself into art. You say, "This is how I want to be seen today." But being trapped inside an image feels different. You become afraid to change, afraid to age, afraid to rest, afraid to be ordinary, afraid to be seen without the performance, afraid that if the image slips, love will leave with it. That is not beauty anymore. That is captivity with good lighting. I do not want that. I do not want to become a museum piece of my own femininity. I do not want to spend my life maintaining an image that cannot breathe. I do not want to become so beautiful to others that I become unreachable to myself. I still love beauty. I love dresses. I love blonde hair in sunlight. I love perfume. I love delicate hands, soft fabrics, flowers, mirrors, candles, skin, color, proportion. I love the way beauty can turn ordinary life into a ritual. I love the way a room changes when there is care in it. I love the way a face can become more itself when it is treated gently. Beauty is not the enemy. The enemy is making beauty responsible for my safety. Beauty should serve life. Life should not serve beauty. That distinction matters. When beauty serves life, it makes things more vivid. It helps me express. It helps me create. It helps me enjoy being in my body. It gives shape to inner feeling. It turns care into something visible. But when life serves beauty, everything becomes smaller. Food becomes fear. Age becomes failure. Rest becomes laziness. A bad photo becomes a crisis. Another woman's beauty becomes a threat. The mirror becomes a courtroom. I am learning not to destroy the mirror. I am learning to change my relationship with it. The mirror can show me an image. It cannot tell me the whole truth. The camera can capture a moment. It cannot measure my worth. Attention can confirm that something about me is visible. It cannot confirm that I am whole. Desire can touch me. It cannot define me. Maybe mature beauty is not about becoming more perfect. Maybe mature beauty is about becoming less afraid of being real. A beautiful woman who cannot rest is not free. A desirable woman who cannot say no is not free. A feminine woman who cannot be tired, angry, ordinary, private, unfinished, aging, changing, is not free. I want beauty that has room for all of me. The polished self, the tired self, the ambitious self, the lonely self, the soft self, the strategic self, the self that wants to be admired, the self that wants to disappear into a garden and not be watched at all. This is why beauty must be held with boundaries, not rejected, not worshipped, held, like a rose. A rose is beautiful, but it is still a living thing. It needs roots. It needs pruning. It needs rest. It needs seasons. It cannot bloom all year just because someone wants to keep looking. Neither can I. Maybe that is the lesson. Beauty without roots becomes performance. Beauty without rest becomes exhaustion. Beauty without truth becomes a costume. Beauty without boundaries becomes consumption. But beauty with roots becomes presence. Beauty with rest becomes softness. Beauty with truth becomes art. Beauty with boundaries becomes power. I do not want to give up beauty. I want to belong to myself inside it. I want to be beautiful without being trapped by being looked at. I want to be desired without becoming an object. I want to create an image without becoming its servant. I want to age without feeling like I am disappearing. I want to rest without feeling like I am failing the fantasy. I want to be seen and still remain private. Beauty is power, but power has to be held carefully. If I use beauty to express myself, it expands me. If I use beauty to prove myself, it imprisons me. If I use beauty to create, it becomes art. If I use beauty to beg for safety, it becomes a cage. So maybe the question is not, am I beautiful enough? Maybe the better question is, can I still belong to myself when beauty is not enough to protect me? Can I still be here when I am not admired? Can I still be feminine when I am not performing? Can I still be real when I am not perfectly seen? That is the kind of beauty I want now. Not beauty as a test. Not beauty as a prison. Not beauty as a contract with the gaze. But beauty as a way of arranging life. A way of paying attention. A way of honoring the body without making it responsible for the soul. A way of creating softness without losing my spine. A way of becoming visible without becoming owned. I am still becoming. Some days I still ask the mirror to tell me who I am. Some days I still want the world to confirm that I am enough. Some days I still confuse being admired with being safe. But I am learning to come back. Back to the body. Back to the garden. Back to the quiet room. Back to the part of me that existed before the gaze and will still exist after it leaves. Beauty is power, but it is not my home. My home is the self that can hold beauty without being held hostage by it. The self that can be seen without being consumed. The self that can create an image and still walk away from the mirror. The self that knows, I am allowed to be beautiful. I am allowed to be more than beautiful.